Look, let me tell you, Kenneth was a popular actor. You give that to him. He was very good. I used to watch him as a very younger person. But in politics, his acting days, this young generation cannot remember. They can't remember. It was the popularity of being spokesman that brought the people who were born in 2000, people were born in 2001, people were born in 1997. Remember that there was somebody. Most people can't remember his acting days. Those young, older people like us could. You can, but young people didn't. They couldn't relate with it. So they keep on discussing about Obi because they know that Obi leaving ADC has weakened the chances of ADC by over 60% and has created opportunity for the NDC to become the new bride of the Nigerian people, because Obi has the enthusiasm behind him, he has the momentum of the people, he has the excitement of the people, and he has the trust of the people. There's no document that proves, even the internet never forget, it's there, that Obi never did an ID card for Northerners in Anambra. It was Rochas Okorocha while he was governor of Imo State. So I end up saying this, that whatever wicked thing he's doing today, people have done worse before him. They didn't put God into the equation. Abacha was very powerful. They didn't put God into the equation. They made mistakes. A pastor, respected woman of God, knelt down on the altar, is pleading with you to please think of poor people. You are replying the person that even if God comes down, Haba, no, what level of power gets to that level? I don't think this is reasonable.
All right, welcome to Naija Unfiltered, a SYMFONI podcast. And our guest on today's edition of the program is High Chief Peter Ameh, former national chairman of Intra-Party Advisory Council. Good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much. You know, I also ran for president like 2019.
On PP?
On PP, yes, on PP. I was among the top 10 candidates that year.
You've come a long way.
I tried. I started early, though.
All right, let's start this way. P2B just left the ADC to NDC. How do you react to his exit from the coalition?
For me, I've always known P2B to be a very principled person. I've known him. I'm not just saying these people who just met him here now. I've known him for a very long time. And on his way, the founder of the ADC is my very good friend, Chief Okonkwo. Very good friend. We've been friends for many years. And you see a lot of videos where he's standing by my side. And I didn't believe in the composition of the ADC. And I didn't believe in the ideas they represented, they are representing today. You see, for me, I've never gone to television station over the last 20 years and then say something and then attempt to walk it back after many years. You know, that's what most of the politicians today do. I try to want to maintain those principles. So when I met P2B, I asked him severally, I said, no, you can't join these people. You can't. He gave his reason why he needed to, be part of the process. And I said, look, there's not going to be free and fair processes for this whole ADC thing. There's already a gang up there. You can't go there. You are too principled, too disciplined to be part of this group. And he insisted that we're all going to ADC, and I refused to follow. And that's the only time I've not listened to him. And at the end of the day, he has seen that the things we've said about the not meeting up with the respect that we have kept Nigeria in a very stable ground. I'm from Kogi State. I'm from the northern Nigeria. I'm not from southeast, south or southwest. I'm from Kogi State. So, and I believe that those things, those integrate balance, that foundation that we are laying, that power should be rotated between north and south, was a principle that I believe in, and I'm grateful that eventually he has seen what I've talked about, and then we'll try to go back to where such principles are entrenched, like the NDC. So it is very important.
Is it a coincidence that when he was leaving the ADC was also when you were announcing your resignation from the Labour Party?
Yes, because I believe in him, and I think that I should leave the Labour Party since he's no longer coming back. At the time, I thought he could come back to the Labour Party, and since he's no longer coming back and he's going somewhere else, and I know that it's necessary for me to continue to act as the people who have been speaking on his, who has been speaking about our knowledge of his person, of his credibility, of his being a very responsible person, and a figure that will unite our country. That I should keep that, and keep that promise. And that's why I resigned from the Labour Party about 24 hours ago to be able to push a new vision for this country. And I believe Obi is the best person to carry out that vision to reality, because we've tried a lot of things. Nigerians Nigerians are not just tired. They've tried tribe, they've tried religion, they've tried region, they've done every other thing. It doesn't work. As long as you keep on bringing people based on the fact that it's my tribal person, is somebody that I know, and somebody that is my language, is my religion, then Nigeria will never get it right. We're going to make their mistakes. What Obi has done is that both in private life, Obi has excelled. Before he got into politics, if there's a way somebody can be in government without being a politician, Obi would have taken that route. There's no that route than to be a politician, because it's somebody who embodies sense of sincerity and discipline, and that level of discipline is what we need for our financial management of our economy, our finances, our physical responsibility. That is the kind of thing we need right now. We can't just be saying things that are not true in order to disparage a man who have put himself in service. Like, nobody would have been able to do what Obi have done since his election was taken from him in 2023. He has remained the center of discussion. That's why they are worried. That's why they are agitated. He has remained the focal point for our political national discourse. Nobody can change that. For 2023, there's no day you can talk. People go to TV station. The other Southerners who are contesting for the presidency, why are they not talking about it? Why are they talking about Obi? They know he's the one that has the momentum, the enthusiasm by young and old people to be able to follow. It's not, look, people came up with Muslim ticket. They are reversing themselves today. The same people who are saying, oh, they made mistake, they are reversing themselves today. Because you can't place national development on religion. You could have two atheists, two herbalists, two Christians, two Muslims who are good and they will do well. Nobody will worry. They talk about Abiola in 1993. I was in Lagos. Lagos was on the kind of energy you felt in that election. You can't feel it in any of the elections we've had. It wasn't about whether the Northerners made Abiola president. No, it was the whole country. I was in Lagos. I saw it. So nobody will say that, oh, in 1993 the Northerners made Abiola. No, that's not true. It was Nigerians who were committed to the principle of somebody who has the capacity to lead this country. So Abiola has the private sector experience. Abiola was driven by his love for this country. Abiola understood that if you must make this country work, you must bring somebody who has the knowledge of business, who can manage resources. And that's why Nigeria followed him. Today, Obi have done 3 times what Abiola have done. He has been generous to the North. He has invested in the education in the North. He has invested in young people in the North. And that should be respected. Obi is not a politician that does things for clout. If he's that kind of large politician, you would have seen him everywhere. And then you would have seen some things that would have not been able to give him that public acceptance that he has today. So let's not go about looking for something to talk about Peter Obi, or that everybody in their private inner cycle have accepted that this man has the capacity, the credibility, and the knowledge to pilot the affairs of this country.
Former spokesperson of the Labour Party, Kenneth Okonkwo, said that Obi is being economical with the reasons why he left the ADC, as against all the things he gave. As a matter of fact, he summarized by saying that Obi has a morbid fear of contesting primaries. How do you react to this?
You see, people have talked about being consistent in what you say. At one time, Kenneth said Obi was the best. At one time, he said Atiku had criminal past and used money to buy primaries. And another time, he's back to Atiku. I've never done such life. I've always been consistent. If I'm supporting Obi, I support. If I'm not supporting, you will never hear that I supported the person, or I go back to talk about the people. I don't bring leaders to TV to talk about them. What I do is principle. And I think that Kenneth is not right, and maybe does not have the information, because he recently joined politics, and he was able to be appointed as one of the spokesmen, and that's what gave him the limelight, the popularity that he has today. So, but for some of us who've been here, I know the primaries that brought to be up in Abga was widely contested, was strongly contested. It was even done by option A4. Obi won. So I do not want to mention the person who contributed to the renting of offices across Anambra at the time was my friend, still remain my friend and ally, Chief Ralph Okenwosu. He knows. I know his contribution to Abga, but eventually Obi won, and we should accept that Obi contested primaries and won. And we should not be looking at, oh, why did Obi leave PDP? The same reason people are complaining today that PDP is dying. It was because Obi was based on principle. Obi said, no, it is the son of the South. You must zone it. So he said, if you're not zoning, I'm leaving. That's why I left to talk about turn. And when it's the turn of the North, Obi will stand by the North. That is the turn of the North. And he did it in 2019 by standing with Atiku. People talk Obi, Atiku appointed Obi. All the vice presidential candidates Atiku have abandoned. Go and look at the vote Atiku got in the election. And look at what he got when he contested with Obi. You look at it, people, you must follow data. Data is very critical in analyzing our national politics. Look at, he got more votes running with Obi than he got with any presidential candidate, any vice presidential candidate. And they are trying to look as if the primaries in Port Harcourt, that Obi did not play a part in trying to make Atiku candidate. People just continue to hide behind one finger and tell all kind of narratives so that people will think they're not seeing them. Kenneth Okonkwo should come to the reality that Obi is fighting for the northern slot. And that when this time for northern slot ends, southern slot ends, and the son of the north, Obi will stand by the north. And Kenneth should accept that the fact that Obi still remains the most credible candidate is because of his character, his competence, and his ability to accommodate all. Because if you look at from the presidential campaign council, those who worked for him, even Kenneth had the best position at the time. Today, Atiku is cutting him. They didn't cut him in 2023. They didn't cut him in 2019. They are cutting him now. Because he has become a material that was molded, that was given opportunity to fly by Peter Obi.
But you can argue that Peter Obi did not make him, per se.
Look, let me tell you, Kenneth was a popular actor. You give that to him. He was very good. I used to watch him as a very younger person. But in politics, his acting days, this young generation cannot remember. They can't remember. It was the popularity of being spokesman that brought the people who were born in 2000, people were born in 2001, people were born in 1997. Remember that there was somebody. Most people can't remember his acting days. Those young, older people like us could. You can, but young people didn't. They couldn't relate with it. So I don't think that we should go about. I think what Kenneth should do, and others like Dele Mamadou, who is on rampage, talking about Peter Obi everywhere, is to sell their candidate. They have a responsibility to talk about what their candidate stands for. And Nigerians have seen that their over-concentration of opinion on Peter Obi as something as if they are scared, as if they are in panic mood that Obi is the answer to the 2027 election as it was in the 2023. They are in panic mood. Because if I have a product in the market to sell, I should be concentrating the airtime I have in trying to diminish the product of my competitors. Because at the end of the day, what you put more in the public is what the people see. So they'll continue to see Obi. Because in journalism, in fact, in politics, there's nothing as bad publicity. That's why you can see controversial politicians that are popular than those who are straightforward. Because they can say today and then say another thing tomorrow. They are very popular. They are very popular. But if you put them on the table with Nigerians to discuss about their content, their credibility and integrity, Nigerians will reject them. But they are popular. Popularity does not mean integrity. It doesn't mean competence. It doesn't mean their acceptability. So they keep on discussing about Obi because they know that Obi leaving ADC has weakened the chances of ADC by over 60% and has created opportunity for the NDC to become the new bride of the Nigerian people. Because Obi has the enthusiasm behind him, he has the momentum of the people, he has the excitement of the people, and he has the trust of the people. Because how can you tell me a man who left governor since 2000 and for over the last 10 years, they can't find anything to arrest him on? They have investigated me, I'm turning upside down. They are collecting his property in Lagos, he's not fighting, he's going through the law, whether people believe in law or not, to be always believe in the law. They are doing all sorts of things to try to undermine him. You don't see him shouting, you don't see him insulting Atiku, you don't see him insulting anybody who Bola Ahmed Tinubu that is contesting against. Obi has always been about the issues. Where is our money? Where is the money generated? Where are you spending it? What is happening with the contract awarded? Why are you not paying local contractors? Why are people suffering? Why is the cost of living so high? Why is out of the pocket expenses for civil servants? Why has it become something that they cannot survive with? These are the issues. These are how politics should be played. And they don't want to learn. They want to continue to talk about thinking that by telling lies, they will be able to reduce Obi. No, people are already convinced. People are already buried their interest that Nigeria must work for the good of our people. That's why you can see a candidate like Obi, they should test their popularity now. Candidate like Obi can go to a party, there's no councillor, local government chairman, no governor, no president. And they end up coming up with 6-something million votes after the several deductions. Because people tell me that, oh, you said the result was stolen. I say it was stolen. I still believe it today. Because it was announced legally does not mean it was the truth. Because there are reports from Premium Times, there are reports from BBC that you can verify and see what happened in Rivers State, another state like Lagos. So clearly, even if you now say you are going to an election, and say Obi has 6.1 million votes, because you have stolen some of those votes, you will panic more, because you know those people that you have stolen their vote are still going to repeat that same vote. And this time Obi will not allow what he allowed in 2023. He will not allow any party officials to undermine him from not putting his agent across. He will not allow the fact that he will not open his eyes and allow Pepper to be put inside. Obi will make sure that the vote of the people this time will be defended. And we're all together. And Nigerians too must take responsibility. Because we cannot get this country working. We cannot get it working if we fold our hands and surrender to these people who have hijacked government.
All right. Some argue that he's leaving the ADC will tend to weaken the opposition in giving the APC a rerun for their money in 2027.
It's a mistake. People who don't, they're not good students of history. 2023 should be a better time for them to know. Like I've told you earlier, Obi contested with Atiku. He had the highest vote out of all the vice presidential candidates he has used in the past. In 2023, Obi contested alone and had, a major vote, a major turnout. That's why what happened to him. The people who are going to vote for Obi are not likely going to vote for Atiku, are mostly not going to vote for Atiku. And that's why you can see, people take offense when people say Obi or nothing. It is a conviction that I believe in this man. It is the final thought of the people that I believe the solution will come from Peter Obi. That is why it's not as if they are doing it to undermine anybody. No, they're not doing it to undermine anybody. They are doing it to tell you categorically that I believe that the hope and future aspirations of Nigerians, young, old, and yet unborn, have been invested in the hands of this man. And based on his character of discipline, this is what he should do. And so if you look at that, it has reduced the chances of the opposition. It's not true. The voter registration in 2023, did you see how high it was ahead of when Obi the camp? It was because people wanted to vote. People were determined to vote. So a lady in Lagos was attacked by some thugs. She got injured. I'm trying to remember her name. She went back home, got treated, and came back to vote. It was conviction. It was belief. That this is what, look, I don't want to be ambivalent at this time. That a lot of Nigerians don't want to be ambivalent, just like me, and standing on the fence and say, whatever will happen to Nigeria happen. People are now determined to say, look, we need to know what wants to happen to Nigerians by investing our time.
All right, his vice presidential candidate in 2023 election, Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, strongly criticized Obi's movement to the ADC. And he said his penchant for leaving when there are internal crises does not signpost the qualities of a great leader. What do you think?
Obi tried to fix the Labour Party. There's no doubt. Obi is not Obi can't change what the refusal of the INEC to obey Supreme Court judgment. Obi can't change that. Obi can't change that. There were federal state high court. Do you know INEC is established by Section 133? And those enjoying any employment in INEC is by Section 155 or Section 1C. But INEC honored a state high court from Nasarawa, the judgment from a state high court, when INEC is a federal executive body, and should only honor judgment from federal high court. So why will Obi has changed that? I think that when you are married to somebody and somehow you love the person too much, and the person now decides to leave and move on with a new life, you as a lover, you will feel pain. There's no doubt about that. And you have to humble us that. I do not want to, I don't like to talk about anybody at all in a way that we undermine them. There was an election in 2023 now. He has a polling unit result now. He has a ward result now. He was a vice presidential candidate now. He should flash it before the people. I can bring my ward result for 2023 where I contested. I can bring my polling unit result and everything around there. So he should stop talking out of anger. If he has the interest to contest, let him contest and show up. Obi did not leave ADC because he cannot contest in the primaries. For me, before he joined, I saw the gang up. I told him, he's alive, you can ask him. I said, don't join. I'm saying this on the air because I don't know. I know it to be offensive to a friend of mine, Chief Rafumosu, but he knows my sincere intentions. that I will never do anything to harm him because he has been there for me as a friend. He has been supportive of all my crises I had while I struggled politically. But the truth must be said. And so the gang up, and I met to be in presence of people. Aisha Yusuf can testify that I said these things. That look, don't go to the ADC except they agree to zone. I asked him. He said, no, let it not look as if I don't want to go. Let me go. I said, no, except they agree to zone, don't go. Because it is turn of the South. Because even if you do, the Southerners will call you betrayer. Don't let people betray you. Don't let people call you betrayer because you are a very principled man. I told him this, and that's why I didn't join him. So today, somebody like Dele Mamadou with, he's afraid of primaries. Dele Mamadou went to NCP, to National Conscious Party to contest for presidential election. There was PDP that time. Now, was he afraid of the primaries? There was other parties. So political party membership is the fact that it's drawn in Section 40, that you belong to a party that protects your interest. This is what the Constitution said, interest. It is not us that created, it is in the Constitution that interest matters. So when people talk without doing proper investigation or evaluating the decision, or they speak from the side of their own selfishness to say, oh, Atiku must be the candidate. Atiku has been candidate before. They keep on telling you it's only Atiku that can win, Atiku that can win. Atiku didn't win. He has been, they have always said this every time he was presented as candidate. He has not won. So let's try let's try somebody now that is a new kid on the block that people have interest in. Go to communities, go and do voice properly. You know that the voice of the people is the voice of God. That people have decided to commit their resources, their time and energy to seeing that a reality occurs. You cannot have somebody who is not financially frugal, who does not have discipline. Look at whatever Lincoln you did, though a benevolent dictator, was the fact that he himself sacrificed those benefits to make sure that the country worked. So today we have that candidate, and every person from the opposition, instead concentrating on the failure of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, instead looking at how Bola Ahmed Tinubu has managed our economy, how he's gallivanting around the world, without looking at the microeconomics indices that will help our small and medium scale enterprises to grow, they are concentrating on Obi. There's a problem there from the opposition. Obi is not concentrating on them. Obi is concentrating on the people. So there's a problem. I think these guys, whether it's Dele Mamadou, whether it's Kenneth Okonkwo, whether it's Yusuf, whether it's Saliu, they are missing the point. They should not be behaving like jilted lover. You know, they should be able to sit down and look at what do we have to sell. We have Atiku to sell. Go and sell it. There are still other northerners in the southerners in the ADC now. Market them. And let Obi market himself.
That he also said that Obi Kwankwaso tickets will not be a good product in the north.
I don't agree with him. I don't agree with him. But Kwankwaso have shown some level of resilience. I don't believe that Kwankwaso should have been announced as a vice presidential potential until Obi emerged as candidate. I don't believe that. But you can't just write Kwankwaso off and compare Kwankwaso, potential with that of that. You understand? Kwankwaso have lost the election in Kano, came back with the same candidate and won the same election without government, despite the suppression, the attacks, the use of state power against that election. He still won and brought people into House of Reps, Senate, and co. The same Obi did that times 10, raised to power 10. But then Kwankwaso did his own. And Kwankwaso is not somebody you can just write off. He's an outside man. He's from the north. So he has his own trademark cut out for him. And he's respected among the Talakawas, the poor people. They respect him a lot. The kind of scholarship he has given, the kind of things he has done to help the downtrodden, trying to look at the Amonikalu idea of politics. I think he's a good candidate. But like I said, I do not believe that he should have been announced as a vice presidential candidate until a primary is conducted, so that it won't look as if somebody was already chosen even before the match started.
We learned there are calls for you to run for the Senate. How true is this?
There are a lot of calls from my people that I should run for Senate. But I know I know the difficulty with elections. The people who are voting, I know the mentality with those who want power at all costs. I don't want power at all costs. I just want to be very happy. I just want to see Nigeria work, because the reason why people think that people who get elected goes to, get there to make money and benefit their family. And that's why most of the electorate says, you won't go contest. You won't go make money. So because we are monetized our electoral process. We are also monetized those who have been elected. They now start to buy SUV, and that's why I believe in Peter Obi, because most of the waste you see in the National Assembly won't exist.
What is the way forward as 2027 elections draw closer? For Nigerians, the electorate, what is the way forward?
A lot of Nigerians are disillusioned. They have disengaged. They are withdrawn from the entire political gamut system, that they feel even if they vote, their vote will not count. They feel APC is skewed at rigging election. So they are afraid. But I will tell them one thing, that when there's mass participation, when people are determined to change the course of their country, nobody can, no idea can stand in that way. No military can stand in the way. No security agency can stand in, because they're all suffering. I grew up in the barracks. How much is the salary of a corporal? It's about 114,000 or so, 114, 115,000. In this economy today, what will 114,000 do to a man with a family? If you will serve as corporal, maybe you have spent like 10 years in the military to become a corporal. So what would that money do today? There are no benefit. You see video trending where they will arrest Justice Crack and say that soldiers are not being fed well, and they will go and arrest them. Instead of you to look for a way to solve the solution, do a proper inquiry, and that's why we do. I'm worried about the kind of attitude that our president is doing when it comes to the welfare of the Nigerian military. And you allow them to arrest a civilian who have got an information and aid, and the DSS is charging the person. What you would have done was to set up a panel of inquiry. Call those people, those soldiers, those honorary soldiers that you do not respect. Ask them, how are you being fed in the war front? Because the morale of the soldier matters to how our wars are executed. Because if their morals are low, if they don't get good salary, they don't get good feeding, there's no allowance for their risking their life on behalf of this country, their morale will be low. So you are not doing all that. You are arresting a man who has exercised his fundamental right. The man has not said that anything contrary to undermine national security. In fact, he has said something so that he will get to you, so that you will be able to help these people and improve national security. So the idea that we have right now is that Nigeria as a country does not have the best hand steering its affairs, and that Bola Ahmed Tinubu have not shown interest or compassion towards the crisis, whether security, whether financial, whether economically, that is confronting the Nigerian masses.
The APC we learned has waived their screening rules ahead of 2027 for President Bola Tinubu, and other aspirants will go through the process of screening them, their age certificates, and all of that. What's APC trying to hide?
They know the truth. They are trying to hide certificate forgery. They are trying to hide the truth about money forfeiture, in the United States of Chicago. They are trying to hide a lot of truth. But Nigerians know already. If you can't be found guilty in your own private court, the court of public opinion will do the justice to the issues on the election day. You cannot, when you want to employ a graduate who has studied, well, you say come for interview. That graduate will go through rigorous screening, present the certificate. Sometimes these companies will go to investigate if these certificates are really true. The companies, they will send people. In fact, those days when in federal civil service, when you apply, they will go to your village, go to places and check. So if you say you are not checking all this because you have think that power, you have now succumbed to power of those who are in charge of the leadership of our country, and see there's no need to do due diligence in order to bring credibility to the process of making sure those who are elected truly have the required credentials, requirement to be able to govern. Then you are further pushing a lot of young people into the right direction. You are not acting as a moral compass for our young people. You have taken morality from governance. You are taking responsibility from governance. You are descending into the arena of political interest over the interest of the people. This is very wrong. This should be condemned by both members of the APC especially members of the APC, because you are setting a precedent that is not good for our internal working processes of our parties. Your party has screening. That's always been there.
And of course, the Constitution also provides that there are minimum
standards
to be met.
Yes, the Constitution provides that. Though I'm not even, I think that constitutional provision should be, rejigged a little bit, because it creates a lot of, the standard is very low, because the kind of standard we use to employ people, we use to even keep our house help in our house, is higher than the one they are using to put people in the presidency. It's higher. So we now have a situation where INEC is under the control of the APC. You have a situation where the APC itself is not even in control of its own affairs. So how do we solve this problem? It has to come on election day. APC screening must happen. And if it's not happening, our citizens should see it as an aberration, as a disappointment to how employment, to how recruitment for leader, the approach and processes for recruitment of leaders should be done. They should see it as an aberration.
According to the Global Terrorism Index, Nigeria continues to be one of the most terrorized countries in the world. Of course, we know that northern Nigeria is one of the hottest places when you talk about terrorism. And the army continues to claim of having successfully decimated, technically defeated the terrorists, but on a daily basis, there's virtually no week that passes without us hearing stories about the onslaught of the terrorists. Do you agree that the APC government is winning the war on terror? Are they negotiating with these bandits? If not, why are the bandits not defeated by now?
I think they are not defeated because the APC government is negotiating with the bandits. They are embodying them. They are creating a culture of benefit for the bandits. Because the bandits is a very lucrative venture for them today. They are making money from one side of government, and those victims, those who fall as victims to them when they are kidnapped and all that. And government have not been able to trace them. Government is tracing those who speak on social media, but government can't trace bandits that are using videos and all kinds of clips to flash money, ransom money. I think the APC has failed when it comes to managing of our internal security. They have not seen what they have done. Because one part of Zamfara is a no-go area. I have friends in Mafara, Talata Mafara, somewhere there, who, if they are coming, military vehicle have to escort them to leave their local government to get to their state capital. I have friends, they are there. They are my friends. The same thing happened in Castina, in some rural area in Castina. So you can't have a country where you have a commander-in-chief that is not sitting on, is not available. It's more traveling and gallivanting around the globe and thinking that international diplomacy is better to solve local issues. Local issues, if you are going to use the international diplomacy to engage people, those diplomats, those countries must see that you are effective at home. They must see what you are doing to make sure that this thing is cupped in the bud. You can see that even the American embassy have issued advisory for their citizens to leave certain part of the country. Close to 20 states that are not safe. Why safe? In Kogi, there's rampant kidnapping and killing. You go to Naija, the same thing. In Kwara, it's worse. In some communities in Kwara, especially in of our Aziz and all the other federal constituencies, people can't go to their villages anymore. And the president visited those people, he hasn't. You need to have government that's compassionate, that is not in itself disengaged from the responsibility that is bestowed upon him to govern rightly and take care of the welfare of the people. When the Constitution stated clearly that the primary purpose of governance, every other thing is by the way, is security and protection of life and property. Because if you don't have that, nothing prospers. Contractors can't go to site to work because they're afraid their equipment and co will be kidnapped by the bandit. So you have a challenge, and there's no national excitement from those in power to try to create an architecture, a military architecture that will see a new one that will genuinely be interested in crushing these bandits and crushing these terrorists, because they are terrorists. We're here, look at what happened to Mali. We're here, look at what happened to Mali. In some part of Buhari today, in Abuja, people don't sleep in their houses with their eyes closed. So in Abuja here, in some rural communities. So the security is becoming more of a challenge. And the APC government led by Bola Ameh Tinubu is not interested in it. He went to Benue. He never visited those who are victims to those terror-driven terrorists. He he arranged canopy somewhere, discussed it somewhere, and said it is too fighting or something. And then he also visited Plateau and stopped at an airport where he talked about the light. There's no light at the airport. It is his responsibility to make sure Nigerians enjoy uninterrupted power supply. And he transported the victims from their home and ignored those who were in the hospitals and met them in an atmosphere of partying and then left within 15 minutes or 30 minutes or so. So I think you need to see that. I don't think he can connect with what the masses are facing. He has been, when you have too much comfort, when you leave, you have to buy private jet. When you get to office, that's the first thing that you want to do. You bought a private jet for 150 billion naira. You make arrangement for yard. You make arrangement for private clinic. You are providing solar system worth billions of naira for yourself in the villa. When you see a president that is creating such level of comfort, I don't think he's interested in governance. He wanted to be president. He's now president, and by grab it, snatch it, and run with it, and he's not sitting down there and enjoying the snatch mantra that he preached. So I don't think he's interested because security is bad, and you can't have investors. You can't have foreign investors because every investors that come with the kind of landmass we have in the north, we should be able to be having factories. Having production. Benue should be a center of food production, Benue and Kogi. But they are not, because look at the landmass they have and fertile, arable land that is there. But it's not, because insecurity, people can't go to farm, even in my village in Kogi. And there's no national policy to say how do we arrest this drift to the fact that people no longer have security to go to farm. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. So I think the cost of living is going to continue to go high because we are not moving towards production. We are not moving towards sustainability of making sure that we produce what we consume, especially when it comes to food. Nigeria should not be importing food. Nigeria should not even be bothered of saying they are lifting tariff on imported food. We shouldn't be bothered with that because we should be feeding the whole world. We should. But we can't because incompetence from our leaders and those who supersede over the affairs of this country, spare the affairs of the country, is making it difficult. And I think that's why we need the government to change. We need to be able to bring in people who are compassionate, who have empathy, and who understands what business-like governance is.
That Ahmed also, in one of the press interviews he granted, he said that the Tinubu-Shetima ticket has done reputational damage to Islam. Do you agree with him?
No, when it comes to religion, I don't like to discuss it. The people know what the people have done. What matters to the people more is that there's so much poverty today because of buying fuel. And because of buying fuel, got worse, not just because of Iran war, because the president removed fuel subsidy without planning, without any way to be able to cushion the effect of that removal. Look at Abacha. Look at what he did with the money removed. PTF, they bought buses, they did all sorts of things. Look at Jonathan. He's the only one who removed it without consideration to what the masses will suffer. I am telling you, if you're a worker, the day, May 29, 2023, that President Bola removed that said subsidy was gone, I saw transportation from Masaka to city center jump by 300 to 400%. Go and ask anybody. Jumped. There was no policy. So people who are earning 100,000 to come to work, my app staff who earn 100,000, 150,000, which is more than the national minimum wage. They couldn't sustain it after 2 months because they told me that look at what we're paying. 1,000 naira. Today we pay 4,000 and how much for transport? That means all their money goes into transportation. So the same thing for a man who will bring tomato from Kano. If the transportation will increase the cost of selling that tomato, and the worker who earns less will have to go to the same market that those who are ministers, who are governors goes to. So that's why you find out that people are suffering today. And that reputational damage that I will concentrate on about leaving religion aside. But I know that there are people in the north have learned. I'm a fellow northerner. Yes, I'm a Christian, but as a Christian, I also have right to be a northerner. But our brothers who are in the north today have seen that ticket did not bring hope. Because the only thing a leader should give is hope. Has Bola Tinubu ever emphasized on the issue of hope for our people? No. You keep on asking the poor to tighten their bed. Tighten your bed. People are dying. He say, no, tighten your bed. No new hospital has been built. The old one, National Hospital, are in bad maintenance level. You go to Gwagwalada Specialty Hospital, you won't be able to walk in. There's no investment in our medical center. There's nothing. The Coastal Calabar highway that is talking about that they gave to Shaguri, the high-tech construction company, didn't pass through Appropriation Act. We can't have, this is semi-dictatorship. We should be able to have this transparent document that show what you are spending by kilometer. Even the Minister of Works could not even define how much he was spending by kilometer on the television. He was asked. So we need to have this. Because it's public resources, there must be public accountability. Tinubu is not acting as if he's accountable to us. We don't know how they are spending the money. We don't even know which budget is in operation today. Which country runs that way? Which country runs that way and survive? Spending our money, they are doing whatever they are doing, approving money without appropriation. The private jet that was bought, there was no appropriation because I haven't heard from the Akpabio who approves everything to say anytime they bring the budget, he will approve it. They bought it before he was saying that. So there was nothing. So we need to be able to know that the reputational damage that Tinubu, this government, Shetima and Tinubu ticket has suffered is their poor management of the economy, is their poor treatment of the Nigerian citizen, is their disrespect to our collective well-being. That is the poor management, that is the reputational damage they have suffered. In the religion one, those who are Muslims will be able to tell if they have represented the true interest of Muslims. They will be able to tell that. If they have acted that they see that Muslims being killed in the north, Christians being killed in the north, if they have shown empathy towards them. None. And that should tell you what you do know, what will happen in the 2027 election.
As we approach 2027 elections, what is the biggest threat to our democracy right now?
The biggest threat to our democracy is the refusal of people to honor our rotational arrangement that exists. That when the SAT does 8 years, the North will do 8 years. Tinubu was here. Buhari was here. People respected that. Buhari is our own brother from the North. We respected that. We stood by that. Today is the turn of the South. And I think the Southerners should be allowed to complete their 8-year term. It's my belief, and I stand by it firmly. And no Northerner will just come and say, you can't be contesting in every election. You should be able to have people you can trust. From 2000, you are a vice president. You should be able to have people you can trust and say, go and be a vice presidential candidate to this person. Let it not produce young people. Let them produce fresh knowledge. Let them produce competent hands that can be part of the process. It can't just be you. As I'm sitting here today, I don't believe I'm the most competent person to govern anything. I believe there are other people. But I always tell people, look, you select from the best. So we cannot have a situation that 2027 election is being undermined by the refusal to maintain the sensitive nature of our political agreement. And the danger that comes from that is because the APC itself have decided that they do not believe in elections. And they do not believe in transparency. Look at the way they passed the Electoral Act. Look at what they did to the Electoral Act. They are creating obnoxious laws that do not have a place in our laws, saying that people should submit their party register between 21 days before primaries. Are you saying that Section 40 of the Constitution is suspended within that 21 days? Because the Section 40 gives you right to association. The right to association, you have it in the Constitution. Are you saying between that 21 days, I have no right to associate? Why they are doing that is that they are trying to force people who will lose election and primaries in their party from not moving out. They are not doing it for the best interest of our country. There are a lot of laws they brought, there are a lot of renewed laws they brought. That if you put it with the grand laws of this country, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, will not stand. And the judiciary must wake up. Even under the military, we had hope in the judiciary. Today, the judiciary, Nigerians are complaining that their trust and hope in the judiciary is dead. And if they feel they are happy that they want to keep it that way, let them continue. The consequences will be so hard on all of us. Because it's supposed to be the last buffer for any citizen to believe that they can go to court and get justice against the might and those in power. But today, people don't really have confidence in that process. The judiciary must wake up that any Nigerian that become president was elected by Nigerians. And as a Nigerian has a right to be part of being a president. And they should stop beholden to power. They should be responsible and committed to the sanctity of our constitution, to the principles that governance must be transparent, must be responsible, to the yearning and interest of the people. The electoral umpire have lost all sense of reputation. There's no reputation. There's no trust in there. It is at an all-time low after the 2023 election. It became even worse with what they have done with all the political parties. It's not just one party. They did it with ADC. They did it with Labour. They did it with NMPP. They are doing it everywhere. They don't obey laws. Except they get a small phone call from behind. So the electoral umpire must know that the commission was established by law to be independent of those in power. Yes, they have the appointing authority. And that's why we have to go through confirmation by the Senate and the National Assembly. So but the appointing authority does not have total control of the commission. And you should be able to know that that power was given to you in trust to conduct transparent election so that the interest of our people will be protected, not for you to protect the interest of those in power. And that's what the electoral umpire has become.
Now that you talked about the electoral umpire, INEC chairman just recently said that insecurity is a threat to a credible, free, and fair elections. And the opposition are saying, is this laying an alibi for what is likely to be a flawed election? What do you make of that comment from the INEC chairman?
I don't know which data the INEC chairman was relying on. It does not control the armed forces. The armed forces have not made such statement. Even in 2014, 2015, prior to 2015, where conditions were really this bad, we still had an election. We had an election conducted in most of those areas. It is not the responsibility of INEC chairman to say that. It's an umpire. It's not his responsibility to start saying what will affect it. What he should be saying is what INEC will do to make elections credible. That's what he should be saying. He shouldn't be saying that kind of a thing to try to create an alibi or establish a foundation for the planned attempt to undermine the election. That's how Nigeria sees it. And since when is partisanship leaked on social media, Nigerians have really lost it with the trust for him. But I know the commission will survive this. Because there are a lot of Nigerians that are in the commission that I know. They are very responsible people that really want Nigeria to work and really want the election to be transparent. And they should stand their ground. Because the commission alone does not revolve around the INEC chairman. There are a lot of other people. Just like what Mark Igini did in Rivers State, in Akwa Ibom State. Others can do. To be able to see that we save this country. Oh, this country needs our commitment. It needs our love. We can't continue like this forever. We'll get to a breaking point where everybody will suffer. We shouldn't get to that point because governance is very important. Those who are saying they will not be part of government, that they don't want to be politicians, I'm sorry to say that government, after God, dictates the affairs of men on earth. So if you don't want to be, you will bear the consequences for bad leadership. Today, Jabi Lake Park has been taken over by government. This is where I go to do exercise with a lot of people. I used to see Chudoka there. I see people there. It's a very big place, open to poor and rich. When I saw them demolishing and blocking that place, I saw how the pain in the eyes of those who are doing small and petty trading there. You have taken this on the way. How do you solve security when you keep on oppressing the poor? And Wike is saying that anybody would like even taking it to God, that it has come to see. And that's why I tell a lot of intellectuals, a lot of my friends, be partisan. It is not a sin. It is not a cause. Don't let them use that derogative language to defend it. Politics is about policy. It's about governance. It's about development. Be part of it. We can't surrender our government to people who are not sensitive to our people. We don't care about the plight of the common man. We don't care about the plight of the downtrodden. I was there. I have videos on my phone. I go to Jabi Lake Park 5 times a week. If I'm tired, by 5 o'clock, I go there. If I'm in the afternoon, if I'm passing in the way, I can come down, change my clothes, do exercise, play tennis. Because I'm very good at playing tennis. Right from time, so I play tennis. They will watch this video and they will tell you that I said it. That I was there. I'm always there. So now, government have taken it because government have overriding right on all land. Does not mean that you should be insensitive. Does not mean that you should detach yourself from the concerns of the poor people. It is this government that is meant for both the rich and the poor. And the rich should not just be the benefit of what government should be.
You talked about the FCT minister. He said if Taminu Turaki faction of the PDP say they are strong enough, just to say it literally, that they should open any office anywhere, he will close it down. Open any bank account, he will close it down. What do you make of comments like this?
It's the arrogance of power. And that power you see is displaying. It's not his. It is from the presidency. Because it's not the president now. If I was commander-in-chief, or you have Peter Obi as commander, none of his workers, none of his ministers will behave like that. You shouldn't be saying that. Which power do you have? You close it down, you close it down. You know, there's consequences. So people have done worse than Wiki, who later saw the negative consequence of the result. What he's doing today, you might think that there will not be consequences. You might think that Nigerians are very docile. Nigerians don't remember anything. They are shortage, their attention span on issues move on. But history will record it in the way it will record it. And it will not be fair to him. And I also saw something, and people who campaigned that Peter Obi did the ID card for Northerners in Anambra. It is brazen lie, total lie. The document is there. The person who did ID card for Northerners is Rochas Okorocha in Imo. What have I said here about Tinubu that is a lie? And I'm not going to say Tinubu, went to Kano and slept and tried to kill some Muslims. I won't say that. It's not true. It's a lie. But I will always say the things that are true about how he manages public resources, about how he's insensitive to Nigerian people, not to tell lies. There's no document that proves, even the internet never forget, it's there, that Obi never did an ID card for Northerners in Anambra. It was Rochas Okorocha while he was governor of Imo State. So I end up saying this, that whatever Wike think he's doing today, people have done worse before him. They didn't put God into the equation. Abacha was very powerful. They didn't put God into the equation. They made mistakes. A pastor, respected woman of God, knelt down on the altar, is pleading with you to please think of poor people. You are replying the person that even if God comes down, haba. No, what level of power gets to that level? I don't think this is reasonable. And I know a lot of Nigerians are disgusted by the things that are happening in this country. But they have decided to stay away. Staying away will not save you. The one of the boy that was shot that died with a bullet, he was sleeping in his room. Stay away won't save you. What will save us is participatory democracy. We must be involved. We must canvass our neighbors to vote. We must tell, because Nigerian population, we're going to maybe cross 100 million voters before the 2027 election. And we can't be having less than 10% going out to vote. If we have 40% of that population go out to vote, they will overwhelm the system. And the system will surrender and we will elect the person of our choice. The reason why rigging is easy is when there's no mass participation. When there's mass participation and the interest is obvious that the people want to be able to determine the cost of their own future, without anything, the government will stay back. How many are going to kill? They can't. The soldiers have friends, they have family, they have loved ones. They will go back. But when there's scanty participation, they will be more stronger in carrying out those evil plans against our people. So I've talked to all the academy. I go to universities. I tell them I'm going to deliver another speech at the University of Abuja political event on 28th. I'm still going to tell intellectuals there and scholars, please don't run away from politics. Students, this country was in the 90s. The Guineas, the Ubanis, from the 70s, it was run by students. Not the student of today, not the nurse of today that goes to the president, that go to government house to collect money. It was students that were in charge. They had no telephone, no mind you. People like Great Oracle, Abdul, they were in prison. What they do is that from University of Abuja, University of Jos, sorry, Abuja was not there. They move in the night and appear in University of Lagos. We were like, see, if you look at the way we were looking at these young people, but the mistake, what mistake did they make? Abakuba, what's his name? Yes. What mistake did they make? Let me tell you the mistake they made. They say in 1999 that they will not participate in politics. All of them, they agree they're not going to participate because they refuse to participate. The only person amongst them who tried to participate, who went, was Cross River governor. He was part of all those who were doing youth agitation. Donald Duke became governor. And you saw what he did. Because his view of politics was different. He tried to create Tinapa. If Tinapa was sustained, it would have been earning foreign currency for us today. But it wasn't sustained. And government does not know how to do what China have done. By federal government thinking that it's not a state policy. It's not a state property. It should be a Nigerian state policy. There's such level of infrastructure. We would have invested billion into it, make it a recreational park, so that our president don't go to vacation in France and in London. Just like American president will go to Camp David. China will remain in China. You understand? We should have done that. So most of those people, young people who were active, who were civil society activists, did not know that they needed to transform to political activists in order to be in government to now transform our country. And they left it for buccaneers, politicians who came and bastardized the economy and turned us the level of naira, which has now been worsened by Tinubu government, to 1,400 something per dollar. We cannot leave it for them. They are not interested in this country. It is us as a people. We must make sure this country works. And staying one side does not change that you will not be affected by the wrong policy implementation of this government.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure always having you around.
Thank you.